My name's Guy Kesterman. I've been professionally testing bikes and kit for over 27 years. And today, I'm lead marshal of the Ard Moors Enduro. And I'm testing the brand new RockShox Pike on my specialised Epic Enduro. So, first thing to say, anything you see in these videos is a route on private land. So don't come and ride it outside the event or you'll screw it up for everyone else. It's a brilliant event, superbly run, so well worth getting yourself signed up early. You've generally got more of a chance of getting a ticket for this than you have for hard rock, even though arguably these tracks are even better. So Pike, obviously the midweight, welterweight, trail fork in the RockShox lineup. And to be honest, nothing has changed in terms of chassis. Still got 35mm legs, really stiff for its weight. Great control fork. And I've come off box 34 on this bike, and it's noticeably stiffer. And they're pretty much identical in weight. The differences are all internal. Because if you watch me reviews on last gen RockShox Pike in particular, and on the Tall Boy, you'll know I was not a fan of the new forks. Kind of RockShox went from being the easygoing, however you set it up, you'll have a good ride brand, and completely swap places with forks with their latest forks, because they always used to be the ones you used to have to work really hard with. But now, or at least on the last gen, no, it's still true, but we'll get to that later. Whew. RockShox suddenly became a really troublesome fork to set up. Part of that was, all right mate, the valving and the oil weight and the damper setup. All right mate. So basically, the old forks were pretty tight in terms of damping. A lot of people had them revalved, a lot of people put lighter oil in. So RockShox have completely revalved these new forks now. So you've got much higher high-speed control on the compression damper. You've got much higher oil flow, 68% more in terms of the surface area on that high-speed compression damper now. Makes the fork feel much more open and fluid. You've got a stiffer IFP. Cheers mate. Cheers. Whoa, that's a big gear. And you've got a new shim stack and valve head in there as well. So basically, they've completely opened that damper up. So a lot smoother, a lot more capable of absorbing bigger hits, high frequency hits when it's in fully open, but also they've now made the range a lot broader. So open is a lot more open as well. And it's sublimely smooth now. Oh, yeah, this fork is a proper pinner. Off the top of mid-stroke now. And you've got those little buttercups in the bottom of the fork leg, just for a bit of micro damping, vibration damping as well, little rubber plugs. Right, this is a fast one. Well, presuming nothing goes wrong. Actually cleaned it out. This is actually a bridleway. So this is actually a legitimate ride, even outside the event. And to be fair, they've cleaned it up a lot. This is to be a proper random rock session. but now it's a lot smoother. Anyway, back to the Pike. Because the other thing about Pike, alright, is that on the Ultimate, they put a new bushing system in. And frankly, they had a bit of a QC nightmare. And a lot of the forks are really, really sticky, binding really badly. And to be fair, a lot of people didn't notice that because it's kind of a bit of a, you don't really get fork binding anymore, not since everything got much stiffer legs. They've always tended to flow pretty smoothly, but if you're an old gimmer like me, and you're used to riding old forks or cheap forks, well, there's a lot of flex. Oh, damn it. Shouldn't have braked there. To be honest, I think I've left my lockout on at the rear. Anyway. But if you're not ridden them, you don't know that when a fork's like subject to quite a lot of torsional stiffness, it can bind across the bushings and basically just physically lock the fork, you know, like bracing a pipe across something. Now then, lads, hope you have a quiet day. And that's what was happening with a lot of bikes in particular in the Ultimate spec. Basically, they felt smooth as butter, they felt beautiful. And suddenly you get this horrible wrist jarring lock in them. And I said for ages that it was a bushing issue. And finally they kind of admitted it in the launch of these forks, as yes, they had tolerance issues, and they really worked on the new forks to make sure the sizing is all sorted. Hey up! And that is cracking news, because certainly had no issues with this fork. Been riding it about, wait, there we go. Thought that might be a drop. Riding it hard for about a month now and had zero issues with that. And if you're wondering what a bushing is, it's basically like the white bit on these cows. It's the sliding ring inside the lowers that the fork stanchions slide up and down on. And if they're too tight, obviously makes for a very notchy fork, but if they're too loose, and the fork can move so it doesn't telescope properly, and that's when you get those sudden spike issues. I mean, I'm only running this fork in 130mm, but I can get properly aggressive with it. Really good. That mid-stroke control and that fluidity once it starts moving, because also this Pike has a much bigger negative chamber. I couldn't get an exact figure out of RockShox. I'm waiting to hear back from them on that, so if I get it in time for the review, all right, I'll put that in the captions. And to be fair, stuff like that railing control is really, really good. But whoo, I left my crud capture off so you could see the fork better. Regret it in bits like that. And it is a sublime feeling fork, but it's taken a lot of tuning to get it feeling like that. All right, a real amount of tuning. Like I say, the strength of RockShox before used to be rap, 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 rap. Ham it up to the camera. Phew. Used to be the RockShox, you just fit and forget. But all the people who've been testing this fork, or I didn't know, this generation of forks, I know, you know, reach from back, perfect, Mick. They've all had a bit of a fight setting this fork up. I mean, I've ended up running one token in it just because I just find it's blowing through its travel really, really easily. All right, you know, pretty much every run, that red ring is right up against the ground. I mean, on the plus side, it doesn't feel like it's a bad bottom out. You know, it's not blowing my hands off the bars, it's not spiking, which, and this is only a 130mm setup, like I say, in this Epic. So, you know, it's not the big hit format really, but, and I did try 2 spaces in it, but to be honest, it felt a bit dead. I'm going to say it there, but it felt like married sex, you know. It was going up and down occasionally, but just didn't have that fluttery, floaty feel it does with less spaces in, because with no spaces in it feels incredible, but you're just using all the treble all the time, and I'll keep winding on more and more high speed, and there just comes a point when they go, yeah, I mean, I haven't used it, to be fair, I haven't used it all on this run yet. I'm running 3 clicks, so I'm slightly over pressure on it, and this is definitely the best setup I've had so far. So 1 token, slightly over pressure, and like I said, the traction through sections like that really can. With this T9 front tyre, you can properly lean this fork in. You know, I've been riding it as hard as a Lyric or a 36 most of the time. All right, thank you. Woo! Yeah, actually, not quite full travel, but damn near it, as you can see. I got some company on this one. He's on an e-bike, a big travel e-bike, so we're not going to stay with him, I don't think. Anyway, where was I? Right, so, and this only really applies to the ultimate fork, because the good news is, if you had a Select Plus last time, that had the old school bushings, and that was actually absolutely fine. That didn't have the bushing stick issues, and it seemed like the dampers were better in them. I certainly never had a bad Select Plus from last time. And if you did have an ultimate setup, you can buy the new cartridge for $350, or, which is a nice touch, you can buy the piston head for $75, or the new shim stack for $50, and that's dollars. I haven't got English prices yet, but I mean, arguably you could say, seeing as there were definite issues with the previous ones, RockShox could offer that as a free upgrade, but at least they haven't priced it out massively, so it's still something you can do yourself. I do like that one. And of course, that super supple traction helps on technical climbs as well. Stops the fork getting knocked around as much, lets it track nice and straight for a clean of the big one. All right. And these fork changes aren't the only new stuff. RockShox are also introducing a whole load of changes to the Super Deluxe shock as well. Well, to be fair, again, pretty much identical to what they've done on the forks. More open, wider, more open oil flow. People who want it really, really fast, but also a wider range of both compression at low speed and high speed damping. So again, just a bigger bandwidth of adjustment, as well as more ultimate flowing performance. And I've got one of those forks, one of those shocks on test as soon as I can find a bike to fit it. And they've also made some changes to their trailhead app, which is their sort of tuning recognition app. So you're getting sort of better setup advice. They've refined the algorithm a bit. They've done some more research on stuff. Basically, fed more feedback into it. And they've also put it in more languages. All right, folks. And just generally refined it. It's all controlled through your SRAM ID now as well. So if you've got Axis gears or flight attendants or anything like that, it all syncs together in your one SRAM ecosystem. So it's basically just a more polished setup app. And definitely, you know, the Sport is loads better, way more consistent than it was. And when you get it set up right, control is absolutely phenomenal. It's like all the best kind of super quiet, because it is proper silent. All the super quiet damping you get with something like an Öhlins, but with when you set it up right, a much poppier, livelier feel, which really suits bikes like this. I think we've only got 120 on the back, and the back end was properly chopping around there. But this fork, absolutely super stable. And that mid-stroke is fantastic. It's just taken me longer than a mile I wanted to get there. I think I burped air on the back tyre as well. Had a bit of a ring dimming up the top of this, so yeah, proper aggro fork now, even in this short travel setting. I'm not the most Larry rider, but by my standards I've been properly pushing this setup. And I'm actually going to do a little video on the bike as well. Like I said at the start, this is my Epic Enduro. That's a bit of a joke name, there isn't actually an Epic Enduro. It's an Epic Evo that I've tweaked a bit just for this Enduro. And I have to say, it's been absolutely sick. So I'll link that at the end, and you can have a bit of a laugh at the daftness I've done to this cross-country frame in the interest of making it a bit more rad and reckless. Well, has to be. I think Ard Moors is the best enduro course around. I mean, absolutely love it. Amazing work by Joe and Rafi and Mick and the crew. Superb event. Oh, hey up. Going this way. Taking us to see the donkeys. How lovely. So, there we go. Ard Moors 2024, done. RockShox new Pike 2024, explained. Hope that's been useful for you if you're considering buying the new Pike or upgrading your old one. And like I say, most of the changes, apart from the negative air spring, apply to the new Lyric and Zeb. So if I can get hold of a pair of them, I'll test them too. And like I say, there's changes to the Trailhead app and the new Super Deluxe Ultimate rear shock and the Super Deluxe coil and the Vivid coil that I'll be going into later. And I think you all know Neil from his appearance in the Amy bike build, so I'll attach that at the end as well. He's working for Stashed now, by the way, so give them a shout, and I'll work on them, see if I can get some sponsorship. And talking to sponsorship, many thanks to my industry supporters who will be listed at the end. Massive thanks. They make a real difference to the sustainability of the channel, so if you could support them in the way they support me when you're thinking of buying some new bike kit, that would be splendid.
And massive thanks, as always, to my Patreon supporters who pledge a small monthly amount, and that really helps with the upkeep of the channel. And their names are scrolling up on screen now. And if you really like what I'm doing here, then please consider joining them on Patreon. There'll be a link at the end for that too. There's also a subscribe button, and then if you click for notifications and give this a thumbs up like as well, I get more views, I can justify spending more time making these videos, and hopefully everybody's happy. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven on Guy Case TV, reviewing the new RockShox Pike Ultimate at the Ard Moors Enduro. Get yourself entered to the Enduro, obviously. You know, whatever you do with your other entrances is entirely up to you. And here's a little bit of bonus testing footage, trying different low speed compression settings head to head to see if they did affect how the fork sat up, what its ride height was, as part of the overall review process.